Story title: The Shepherd's Moor. They said the forest protected us. They never said what it wanted in return. I wasn't meant to be here. 3 days into the mountains, and I had already lost the trail. The map was useless. The compass spun like it was cursed. No cell signal, just fog, moss, and the slow creeping realization that something was guiding me. When I stumbled into the village, I thought it was luck. Stone homes clung to the hills like barnacles. No cars, no electricity. The people watched me like I was already a ghost. Every door had strange symbols etched into the wood. Rows of sharp lines, coiled spirals, bleeding eyes. The woman who gave me a room never smiled. She poured tea with shaking hands and warned me, "Don't leave after sundown." But that night, I did. I heard them chanting. When I looked through the window, they were dragging a man, alive, thrashing into the woods. His eyes met mine. He didn't scream. He knew what came next. I should have run, but the forest wouldn't have let me. In daylight, the village was worse, quiet, hollow, like it was pretending to be alive. One man, drunk on something bitter, told me a name. The moor, not a wolf, not a spirit, something older, something that lives in the forest and listens. We feed it, he slurred. It keeps us safe from the other horrors. I didn't understand what that meant until I found the altar. It wasn't hidden. It didn't need to be. Carved stone, black with blood. Trees around it scarred by claws bigger than any bear. Bones littered the earth. Not all of them were animal. I turned back. I had to leave. But when I returned to my room, my bag was gone. The woman who warned me before. She cried as she spoke. "It chose you." Her voice broke. "We can't defy it? Not after what it spared us from?" I realized then I was never lost. I was delivered. They walked me through the woods like a funeral procession. I didn't struggle. Struggling made it real. The altar waited, cold stone, open sky. The villagers circled in silence, not daring to look at me. The night was windless, and then it came. I didn't see it at first. I felt it, a wrongness in the air. Then a figure stepped through the trees, towering, covered in fur as black as the void. It wasn't a wolf, it wasn't even a man. It was grief, it was rage, it was memory wrapped in flesh and fangs. It stood over me, breathing, listening, and then it leaned close. Its eyes were human, and it remembered, not me, her, the one who broke the pact, the one who lied to keep herself safe. The creature turned, and it didn't choose me. It chose the drunk who spoke the truth, the one who made offerings to save his own skin. The forest doesn't want fear, it wants honesty. That night, it took it back. I left before the sun rose. No one stopped me. The villagers were too busy burying their own. Behind me, smoke rose from the rooftops. The altar was broken, the spell undone. No more chants, no more blood. The forest was silent, but silence is not peace. I don't know what the creature was, a guardian, a curse, a god, but I know this. It was born from a promise, and that promise was broken. We fed the forest lies until it remembered the truth. It never wanted fear, just honesty. I used to think I got lost by accident, but maybe the forest knew me better than I did myself. New story, Moonless, a sci-fi werewolf horror story. In the void beyond Mars, further than any light dares to reach, drifts a dead planet, Zellereth. Barren, ancient, hostile, there is no moon here, no tides, no pull, just a silence so vast, it presses against your skull like a scream you can't hear. Orbiting this stillborn world was the station Hadeon 6, a cold ring of steel and glass, built to study electromagnetic remnants buried in the planet's crust. Zellereth was labeled uninhabitable, unremarkable, and yet it watched. The crew consisted of 8 minds chosen for their brilliance and composure. Dr. Marrow, Dr. Park, Razi, Commander Holt, Vora, Dr. Solis, Haskins, Dr. Kale. They were calm, rational, unafraid. Until the pulse began, not radiation, not tectonics. It had rhythm, purpose, and then one of them began to howl. Hadeon 6 incident log flashed a message. Transmission corrupted. The term werewolf appears 3 times in sealed communications. Dr. Park had always been the crew's stabilizer, the medical officer with quiet intuition and a calm steadiness that anchored Hadeon 6. But the silence of Zellereth had begun to whisper into her skull. It started subtly. She began to have nightmares, pulsing migraines. And then hunger set in, not for food but something primal, something red. One planet cycle into the mission, Dr. Kale found Dr. Park in the infirmary, covered in blood that wasn't hers. Her eyes were like burning gold. Her nails had thickened into points, her mouth warped, teeth sharpened. Park had no memory of what happened, none. She, confused and frightened, had suddenly collapsed. Dr. Kale, horrified, assembled all the crew members. The crew was appalled by the scene in front of them and could not believe their eyes to what they saw. They scrambled for explanations. Commander Holt reviewed life support logs. Razi scanned for pathogens. Dr. Solis combed through myth, but only one theory echoed in whispers. Razi, always the spiritual one, stared at Dr. Park like she was some unexplainable creature, as if saying it made it more real. Often dismissed as superstitious, Razi hesitated. Before quietly stammering that werewolf, he repeated, She looks like a werewolf. Commander Holt scoffed, but his hands trembled. Dr. Marrow refused to comment, but that word clung to the air like a bad transmission. Because even without a moon, something ancient was waking in her blood. They could feel it in the chills of their surroundings. She's turning into a werewolf in space without a moon. It was unthinkable for the crew, like it would be for anybody. The crew thought it was isolated, contained, a single breakdown under pressure, and the rest of them were immune to the situation. But soon, days later, Dr. Haskins, logical, quiet, never one to raise his voice, was caught growling at the lab window. His skin shimmered under infrared like it was changing beneath. Dr. Kale, the biologist and mission cynic, started losing teeth in his sleep. He locked himself in the storage bay, whispering numbers in patterns that no one recognized. Commander Holt tried to maintain order, but the crew was splintering. Vora, the engineer, refused to sleep. She had seen something outside the station, floating, watching them from afar and waiting for its next victim. Dr. Solis grew obsessed with folklore, piecing together scraps of Earth's lunar mythologies with disturbing new data from Zellereth's core. Dr. Solis, surprised by the data himself, murmured to the crew that there is no moon, but there is memory, muscle, and bone. Something buried deep in the planet, and maybe deeper in them, was reawakening. Mass hallucination ruled out amongst the crew. The base temperature started rising. Journals match ancient werewolf rituals predating lunar worship. On the 47th day, the station all of a sudden lost all internal gravity for 13 seconds. And when the gravity was restored, 3 crew went missing. Blood smears marked the floor, but no bodies were found. The panic was spreading faster than the speed of light. Vora was found half-conscious near the escape pod hangar. She said in trembling voice that it wasn't some external unknown force anymore. It was what's under the skin. Dr. Morrow finally spoke out, the crew's psychologist, the one who always watched but never engaged. He mentioned that since Dr. Park's incident, he began logging hourly reports, documenting the mental collapse of the crew and that of his own. He then mentioned in a serious voice that they are not changing into wolves, they are shedding the lie of being human. A whip of silence gazed through the air. A message displayed on their log screen. Final log received 03:14 GMT. Signal echo detected from Earth orbit. The distress signal reached Earth 2 weeks too late. A rescue shuttle was then dispatched. They came armed with containment suits, tranquilizers, and certainty. Certainty that it was a system failure, a breakdown in chain of command. But when they entered Helion 6, the silence was immediate, suffocating, the kind of silence that listens back. The logs were shredded, hallways looked raked open by something with hands too large, claws too deep. The crew was gone, not dead, just missing. One helmet camera caught it, a flash of movement, a form crawling along the ceiling. It had glinting gold eyes, a sound that was not human, a howl so low it rumbled in the bones. One rescuer spoke out, screaming that I weren't so it wasn't the moon. It was the planet. It was Zellereth. Zellereth had no tides, no lunar pull, just memory. Memory of its moon. Memory older than species, older than light. We thought the werewolf was a myth, but myths are echoes, and some echoes come from space. The last message displayed on Helion 6 logs. Transmission ends, and the incident was sealed under Galactic Act 7B, cosmic contamination.